From Mexico to the US, where once again impeachment is all the talk in Washington, and Trump's fulminations, predictably, is all sound and fury that does not signify any strategy to deal with the oncoming political challenge. Will Trump then be impeached, or will he be able to stonewall the process initiated by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi? Will Trump's presidency be able to restore faith in American voters? Our next report tells you more.
What did you want President Zelensky to do about Vice President Biden and his son Hunter?
Are you talking to me?
It started with a leaked phone conversation of President Donald Trump with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, where Trump allegedly pressurized Zelensky 8 separate times to investigate the son of former Vice President Joe Biden for his past dealings with Ukraine. And Joe Biden is the Democrats' 2020 frontrunner for presidential race. The incident came to light when just a week before the phone call, on Trump's orders, the US government had frozen $391 million military aid to Ukraine. Many thought the absence of a Biden-related investigation was the reason US-Ukraine relations went into a deep freeze this summer. Defense funding and a trip to the White House had after all been put on hold. The whole episode led to an impeachment inquiry being initiated against Trump. Speaker of the House of Representatives Nancy Pelosi reiterated that Democrats were left with no choice but to go ahead with impeachment proceedings against President Trump.
Very prayerfully and patriotically, we had to come to a decision that had to move forward with an impeachment inquiry of the President of the United States.
On the other hand, Trump's press day turned into theatrics. He was visibly angry with journalists who posed questions on his scandalous telephone conversation with Ukrainian president.
Did you hear me?
Yes,
Ask
sir.
him a question.
I will, but
I've given you a long answer. Ask this gentleman a question. Don't be rude.
No, sir, I don't want to be rude. I just wanted you to have a chance to answer the question that I asked you.
I've answered everything. It's a whole hoax. And you know who's playing into the hoax? People like you and the fake news media that we have in this country. And I say in many cases, the corrupt media, because you're corrupt. Much of the media in this country is not just fake, it's corrupt. And you have some very fine people, too. Great journalists, great reporters. But to a large extent, it's corrupt and it's fake.
Be it Nixon's involvement in the Watergate scandal or Bill Clinton's Whitewater affair, obstruction of justice is often met with resistance from diverse political quarters, including powerful sections of the administration. This is in fact the greatest strength of the US political system, that even the president cannot obstruct or subvert the process of justice. Whether the proceedings will result in Trump being impeached is a moot question. In the past, when impeachment appeared inevitable, an incumbent president chose to resign. It may be no different should the impeachment inquiry against Trump run its course unhindered. Whatever the ultimate outcome of the process, the political career of a president has invariably ended ignominiously once an impeachment inquiry is initiated against him. Will it be different this time? Will Trump weather the storm? Should he choose to fight till the bitter end, he can count on the Republicans' 2/3 majority in the Senate, which can abort an impeachment in the final stages. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
And now we have our correspondent, Kevin McCallies, joining us live from Washington for more on that big story that we're tracking. Kevin, interesting, isn't it? In 2019 in America, there's so much Nixon talk doing the rounds, and now the question is, will Trump at all have a resignation in his mind? Doesn't look like it at all.
Yes, the report there said that, will Donald Trump manage to weather this storm? It's worth remembering that this impeachment inquiry is only 10 days old. It feels like it's been going on for a long time already, because information and developments are coming out fast and furious in this impeachment inquiry led by House Democrats, of course. And we see a frustrated president, fighting back. He's clearly on the offensive. He's called this entire inquiry a coup, part of an extension of his witch hunt. The classification he gave to that Russia probe. But the main difference between the special counsel and the investigation into Russian interference and the outcomes of that report and this particular development, which has triggered impeachment proceedings, is that all-important transcript of the phone call summary between Donald Trump and his Ukrainian counterpart back in July. And that's the problem for this president. That's why so many believe his defence and the defence being put forward by his allies and members of his administration has been so weak. Because in that phone call, he asks the Ukrainian president to do him a favour. That favour, trying to find dirt, something against his possible political opponent, Joe Biden, who at the moment is the Democratic frontrunner to go up against Donald Trump in 2020, assuming, of course, that Donald Trump isn't removed by impeachment in the meantime.
Right, and even as you rightly pointed out, it's been just 10 days, but we've seen a complete social media war play out in the US. Trump is known to have tweeted over 200 times, apparently, over the last weekend, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on Facebook ads, all featuring impeachment at the center of it all. And that video defense that he put up of a 30-second video, that got the world talking. So in that sense, how realistically are we looking at impeachment at this stage?
Well, obviously, it's very early on in this inquiry, and this inquiry will involve several agencies within Congress. Of course, today we're hearing from the first impeachment witness, if you like, in the form of Kurt Volker, the former Ukrainian envoy, the US envoy to Ukraine, who, of course, resigned shortly after the whistleblower complaint came out. He's the first person to appear before these committees who are effectively bringing together all of the information that they can to present for moving forward on possible impeachment. So we're very much at the beginning of the process, but that process is moving swiftly. We will have more depositions, and of course House Democrats have also said to the White House, look, if you don't provide the documents we are requesting, if you continue to stonewall, then we will subpoena. We will force you to hand over the information that we require to fulfill our congressional and constitutional duties as they see it. This president, of course, declares it's nothing short of a coup and that the Democrats can't beat him at the ballot box, so they're going to try and remove him via impeachment.
Kevin McCallie is joining us live from Washington with the latest on impeachment in the US. Thank you so much for being with us here on WION Fine Print.